Hi everyone, I want to talk about the reworked Desires Magnum Opus set for the Wizards. So this one has received some updates to make it a bit less clunky, a bit faster. It gives you automatic bubbles and teleport resets now, and a bit more damage reduction than before. So it's actually a fairly solid build. It was already, I think, A-tier push build anyway with DMO Twister. And there's also the DMO Frozen Orb, which is a little bit behind a few GRs. And this has also been played with that set. So the overall power level is not really going to increase very much from this patch, but it definitely feels way better to play, at least for any kind of speed content. And with the extra toughness, it's also way easier to handle, and you don't really have to worry that much about setting up the bubbles. So pretty cool stuff, I believe. I did try it out on the PTR, and I tried both the Twister builds and the Frozen Orb build. The good part about Frozen Orbs is it also gets a new seasonal power that you can see in action here, where you get these swirling orbs around you, and they charge up to increase the number of orbs you fire the next time you use that skill. So you can do a barrage of 5 orbs in one go. It's pretty amazing, and I found out some very interesting mechanics with that as well, which does make this Frozen Orb build potentially around as powerful as the Twister build. So that this might be an actual contender for a rank 1 push on the DMO leaderboard. So you can actually use the Arcane Dynamo passive to buff all 5 of those orbs at the same time. So your first initial burst is massive. So the way I played this was that I stacked up my Arcane Dynamo to 4 by just very conservatively pulling enemies together, not attacking very much. And then right before my Convention of Elements comes up for cold, I would attack 4 times with my Magic Missile. You can use another generator, it doesn't really matter. And spread the bubbles everywhere. Then I will do the Black Hole and then do the 5th attack for the Arcane Dynamo to max out and throw the Frozen Orb on cold. And that leads to some really satisfying big burst of damage. It is really cool, especially when you hit exactly in the center of the pool with the double explosion of the Frozen Orbs. It was a lot of fun. So I think this could actually be the DMO build for next season. At the very least, it's going to be competitive. As I said, overall DMO is not the best in the game. It is fairly good, as I said. I think it could still need a bit of a bump up. So maybe the 6-piece burners could be improved to something like 20,000% or so, just to give it another 3 tiers or something like that, and a bit of extra power. And yeah, then we have really good builds on our hands there. In fact, I believe that this Frozen Orb power is so cool, it should simply be baked into one of the Frozen Orb items after the season to close the gap between Twister and Orb. And it just feels amazing to play with this. You have this nice big burst. And I believe this could also be something for kind of speed farming. If you're trying that, I didn't actually go for this, but I believe you could quite comfortably do something like 110s or so with Frozen Orb. It should be fairly solid. I do have to say that the Frozen Orb version feels way better than the Twister version on DMO now. Usually I played DMO as Twister. I really like that build actually on the live servers, but I feel like with those automatic bubbles, everything becomes a bit more of a hassle. And you don't really have exactly the control that you want, that you need for the Twister to be really good. So I tried this with various setups. Here's, for example, to Crown for Primus, you have this bubble following you around. Unfortunately, this is the issue that it doesn't actually restore your teleports. So this Crown to Primus is more of an annoyance because it stuns enemies all the time when you walk through them, and then you can't pull them together. So I don't really expect that to be used very much outside of some kind of meme support wizard setups with DMO. So maybe we're gonna see that in some builds, but I don't think this is really gonna end up the meta build on anything. A way better way to play this is with the Wave of Force. So instead of the slow time skill on your bar, you have Wave of Force now. So you can use LOD Twister, and you can snapshot this big arcane damage buff into your first Twister to then stack more into it and have way more damage. So I believe that overall the Twister build will gain something 2-3 tiers or so from this whole rework. Not that crazy, but it does help a little bit. But I feel like the playstyle has become just clunkier because you want to try to rely on these automatic bubbles, and you want to rely not on the Illusionist passive to get teleport resets, but instead those teleport resets that come from the slow time now, and you want to, try to fit in other things to actually gain anything out of this patch. And I feel like those other things with the Wave of Force and with those teleport resets on the bubble just don't really work out as fun for this playstyle, and personally it's not really vibing with me. Obviously, exactly the old playstyle can still be done, so you can still cast automatic bubbles if you want, and you could still use Illusionist passive if you want and all that stuff, for example, but it's going to be weaker than the actual meta setup, so it would be kind of weird to do that. But yeah, considering how much fun this Frozen Orb was on the PTR, I'm not really too sad about it, and there's still LOD to play Twister in my opinion. It would be even better if Blizzard decides to finally kill reverse Archon builds in some way, because this reverse Archon stuff is not really that cool, I believe, for most builds at least. And that includes Twister, and I would really like to play like a regular, really strong Twister build on LOD, and then DMO being the Frozen Orb build. I heard from a lot of people that they tried to combine the DMO set with something like Tarasha, but I don't really think this is a good idea. All you really get is a bit of damage reduction from the 4-piece set, and you give up a lot of other slots for that. So I don't think that's really the play. So it's just going to be like the regular like DMO build. And just as before, you play Frozen Orb or Twister. What I gotta say, personally, I'm quite excited to play Frozen Orb in Season 27 with this extra power. It does make the playstyle, more interesting, a bit more strategic for pushing, with this Arcane Dynamo effect, which I found really cool. And you just feel those huge bursts, and it's amazing. So I can just recommend you to try it out. Even if it's not the best wizard build, it's gonna be quite fun, and maybe we're gonna see a bit of a bump up in the final patch notes. So this is what I have to share you for now for the DMO wizard. Let me know how you feel about it. So not really a big rework, but it does help a little bit, I suppose. Subscribe for more Diablo 3 content. I'm gonna keep you covered from the PTR, and see you guys next time.